And now I will start sharing my screen as well. Please confirm me when you can see my screen. Uzumi, do you see my screen?
Mute, yes.
Great. Okay, great. Then we can get started. Thank you everyone for joining in. This is our October month Garage series. And in today's session, we would be walking us through a nice use case which goes by the title of enabling business partner address cleansing in SAP S/4HANA. And for this use case, I am being joined by my colleague Huzumi. She is the product manager from SAP Data Quality Management Solutions, and she would be walking us through this nice use case. But before we get started, let's take a minute or two to understand why we are doing this Garage series, and what is the motivation behind running these monthly sessions for our ecosystem out there. So the whole idea started, because we had a lot of business scenarios, use cases that were built on top of BTP, but we wanted to let the partner community, let the customer community, let the citizen developers know how they can also develop such solutions end to end, and then also learn from the solutions that are already built. So the whole idea for Garage is to bring you such use cases built on top of BTP, leveraging BTP services. And we bring in colleagues who have developed these use cases, such as like this session where we will be looking at how S4HANA and how BTP are helping to enable the business partner address, enhancing the information that we have. So that is the whole idea behind Garage. And for today's session, it would be Zumishi would be talking more about the session and what all things are required to achieve these use cases. What are those services? What are those pricing model that you need to have? And we'll also walk us through a short demo that showcases how the system behaves in real time. Yeah. So for that, we would be handing it over to Huzumi. But before that, who are all there in the garage today? It's me, Gaurav, who is speaking right now. I'm being joined by my colleague Huzumi, and then obviously you, who are making our garage series a huge success month on month, year on year. So for that, I would really like to thank you for tuning in and motivating us enough, and also giving us feedback to bring in more such use cases every month. So stay tuned with us and keep showing us your support. With that, I would like to hand over to you.
Okay, let me try to share my screen. Oh, if you can see the
Yep,
screen.
you can see.
Okay, so yeah, again, my name is Hozumi Nakano, and thanks for joining today. And I'll be talking about the mission titled as an Enable Business Partner Address Cleansing in SAP S/4HANA. So let me start with the SAP Discovery Center just to show we are on SAP Discovery Center here, and then we have the mission. And this is where you go in here and then start the mission. And then you'll be able to see the use case and business cases, challenges, solutions. And then if you go to project board, you'll be able to go through these steps to go through this mission to learn about this use case. You're able to see more resources, support, and customer stories. And if you want to see the other missions related to this one, you can also look at this one also. So let me just go to the slide here. And again, this is the screenshot that you just saw. And this mission takes you through the steps to discover how you can enable address validation for your business partner master data. And you learn how the SAP Data Quality Management add-on connects to the SAP Data Quality Management microservices for location data on the SAP Business Technology Platform. And here we have this long name, SAP Data Quality Management microservices for location data. So it's a long name, so we tend to shorten it as a DQM microservices or data quality services. And that for this presentation, I'll be calling data quality services, which will be the name you see in a SAP BTP cockpit. which is the service name. Let's see. So here you learn for the data quality services on SAP BTP, Business Technology Platform, and you'll learn service capabilities of the service and then consumption-based pricing model. And you'll see some API samples and then how to provisioning the service instance. On the S/4HANA side, we have the data quality management add-on, and we will touch on supported versionings and how to create and configure the RFC server to connect to the service on the BTP. And it will be doing the address check to test the connection and see how the address is cleansed in business partner creation screen. This is the solution diagram for this mission. So you have the left-hand side, SAP Business Technology Platform. We have the data quality services, and you'll be creating the service instance here in your own consumer sub account, which is the REST API service. And then we also have a UI to go with that to help you. And this is a subscription to the provider account. So the data quality services is a shared service, and it will be offered in the product provider account, which the authentication is also provided by and supported by the identity authentication service on the SAP Business Technology Platform. For the S/4HANA side, we have the data quality management for SAP. That's the add-on. And sometimes we refer it as a DQM for SAP. And we have basically have 3 different options. And option 1 is the connection to the BTP service that we are going to talk about today. And this is the focus on this mission. And this is the HTTP S connection, is the secure tunnel here. And it's going to call the REST API service here to do the address validation. Optionally, you could have option 2, option 3. Option 2 is using the native SAP HANA smart data quality capabilities supported on the HANA database layer. Or if you have data services customers, you can also use the data services on premise to connect from the DKM for SAP add-on here to do the address validation. So let me start with the, some of the business challenges. So you might have a questions. What challenges do you see with the poor address data? So for your business, if you have poor address data, something like incomplete data or invalid data, or maybe obsolete data, then what challenges do you see for that? And for address data may lead to the poor business execution. I don't know, a typical example is the packages are not delivered or they're delayed because they need to be routed to find the right address. Or maybe you may have a marketing campaign that's not effective because this is based on the inaccurate location data. Or maybe you may have a compliances issue. You may have requirements for employees, and then employees must have a valid address information, but you may have the requirements breach. And all those things leads to the low customer satisfaction, which will be for like delayed and undelivered packages. And then also irrelevant information is sent to the customers because of that's not relevant for the location that they are in. For the solution side, the technology solution side, the data quality solution may be costly because the proactive data quality solution requires a complex integration effort. And there's also infrastructure cost, and also the reference data management is also costly. That needs to be done periodically. And then you may not have the experts who know about the address knowledge, especially for global scale with the multiple countries. So from there, where you want to go from there, of course, you want to have the accurate location analytics with the reducing the erroneous package delivery and also reduce the shipping cost. Sales representative maybe want to have the relevant accounts, the correct accounts for their marketing campaigns. And also you may have the government compliances that you need to meet with the employees' information, with their address information. And those things will, of course, increase customer satisfaction with the timely delivery packages, and also the right communication and promotion is sent to the customers based on their location. And for the cost of the ownership, you may want to take advantage of the out-of-box integration in your applications instead of the complex integration on your side. And also we have the reference data management and infrastructure cost that you may want to reduce that and prefer to do the zero cost of ownership. And then which will lead to the maybe consumption-based pricing. You may be interested in that. So you pay for what you used. And then also you want a solution that you can trust with a trusted industry leading solution with a global country coverage. So what is the solution? So I'm introducing the SAP Data Quality Management Microservices for Location Data, aka Data Quality Services. So SAP Data Quality Services is a cloud-based services providing address cleansing, geocoding, and reverse geocoding. It is SAP managed cloud offering to lower the TCO in comparison with the traditional on-premise solutions, which requires address and geocoding reference data updates on a monthly or quarterly basis. And then this mission, well, we may not cover the type ahead suggestions and the reverse geocoding, but also the service supports this. So I'll mention all here. And then type ahead suggestions, you'll be able to see the suggestions based on the typing of address by keystroke. And then a few keystrokes, so you'll be able to see the suggested address and you'll select from the list to make it faster for the data entry. For the reverse geocoding, you're able to find the nearby addresses based on the location you're in. So you have the geo coordinates, and then you'll be able to find the address within a radius from that location. And of course, we are global solutions, the REST APIs, and consumption-based pricing, and industry leader will be mentioned later also. On the left-hand side, we have the integration within the multiple SAP applications. For SAP customer experience, we have the direct integration in sales and service cloud. This is where you actually see the type ahead suggestion also integrated. And then also we have the success factors. Employee Central is the application that you will see that integration with the data quality services. And we'll also talk about this for HANA here. And then data integration tools also have support for this connection to the data quality services. Just want to touch base with this global coverage for the service. We have support for globally 240 plus countries support, but for the primary address level support, which will be the house number level or higher, it will be these list of countries for address cleanse. It will be the 49 countries at this time, and also support the local scripts for these countries. And we are also making updates constantly. So if you have some countries that you like to get at the primary address level that's not supported right now, please send a request to us, and then we'll prioritize based on the customer demand. Also geocoding, we have 118 plus countries supported at the primary address level. Also for the pricing option, you can license this service on a cloud platform enterprise agreement. If you already have the CPA agreement, all you have to do is to entitle the service, and you can start calling the service. And if you don't have the CPA and then sure you want to make an initial investment yet, so you can try the pay as you go for SAP BTP account. And then you can also get these accounts from the SAP store, or you can also contact your account executive. We have the consumption-based pricing, and this is pay per call, or more accurately, pay per transaction. So if you get the address corrected, then you'll get charged. If you get the latitude, longitude for geocoding, then you get charged. So based on the consumption. And then we also have the free tier option. And if you just like to try out first, you can try 1,000 transactions within 30 days. And then after you exhaust this free transactions, then you can easily convert to the standard plan. We also have the sample collections for the Postman. And if you just try out first calling APIs, you can use our samples, and we have samples for many countries here provided, and this is available in the GitHub sample SAP samples. We also have the API references on the SAP Business Accelerator Hub. This is where you can see the specs here, or you can also try out here calling this API. So this is where you go to create a service instance. You go to the SAP BTP cockpit, and then this will I'll be showing this in the demo. So I'll be just quickly going through these slides in the next few slides. So we have the configuration UI. I'll be showing that. We have 4 different tools available on these here. This is the usage information, and then integration to the cloud application lifecycle management. And this is where you register in the configuration UI and then get the performance of the API calls within this real user monitoring application in a SAP Cloud Application Lifecycle Management. And for S4 HANA side, we have the supported version information here. And if you're on the recent S4 HANA version, you don't have to worry about anything. The data quality management solution add-on is already included. But if you're on the older system, you can download the package, installation package, and install it. And we recommend to use the basis component version 756 or higher to use the OAuth 2.0 client for authentication of this service. And this is, I'll be showing this in a demo also. And within a BTP cockpit, you'll be creating a service key. And this is where you can find the information of the credential, URL, everything you need to know to connect to the service. And you'll be configuring this on the S/4HANA side. This is another side-by-side screenshot with the BTP service. We provide a configuration, and you'll be able to select the pre-delivered configuration, or you can create your own custom configuration. You can use it as a template and then change it and then create a custom one. And then this is on the left-hand side. You can specify your configuration name here in the configuration settings. And I'll be showing this in a demo also. This is a screenshot I'll be showing here on the address check to actually do that address validation and correction. You'll be seeing these original address, validated address, side-by-side view in address validation review screen. So let me try to show the demo. So I'll be using this screen recording to go over some scenarios. So here I'm on SAP BTP cockpit, and then we have the data quality services, and then in the data quality services UI under the service marketplace. And this is where you can create a service instance. So I'll be creating one for data quality services. If you just want to use the REST API service, you create a service instance here. I name it as a demo. And here you can provide optional parameters. And for the default behavior, you don't have to specify anything. If you want to do a specific configuration, you can specify the JSON format parameters here. And you can refer to the documentation here for the parameter values. And here, I'll be putting some parameters here to use the X509 credential types and create. So now it takes me to the instance and subscription. Here I previously created a data quality services UI, so it's already here. If not, you can also create in the same way as before. And also we have the demo instance that I just created here. It's showing here. And this is where you can create a service key. So under here, you go to create service key. And you can give a name. And here again, you have the optional parameters. You can keep it empty for default behavior. Or here I'm putting the parameter value for the certificate authentication. And I'll show you more about this parameter later. So now it's created, and you can see the view credential to see what's in the service key. And here I have the JSON format, all the attributes in the JSON parameters. You can copy or download this, or you can see this in a form view to see, to have a better view for each one of these attributes. So next I'll be looking at the data quality services UI. So here we have 4 different tiles now. So we'll be going each one of these. So let me start with the service authentication tile. This is actually a new tool. It's just a handy tool to help you generating parameters that I just pasted before. So here I am bringing the certificate from the S4 side, and I pasted it on the left-hand side, which automatically generated the JSON parameter on the right-hand side. And this is where I copy it and I pasted it in the creation of the service key in the previous screen. Or you can follow the documentation to see what parameters are available. Again, here, and then copy or download here. Another tooling here is the service key. This is also just a handy tool. If you already created the service key from the BTP cockpit, you can paste it in here. And then here on the right-hand side, it parses the JSON format and then provide the client certificate. If you have private key, it will show it here. And it will just be just a nice multi-line PEM format that you're able to copy and then look at it later. The next one, I'll go to this cloud ALM integration, application lifecycle management. And here you can register the service to be integrated with the real user monitoring in a cloud ALM. And here it's by default, it's not registered. So you need to provide the URL and credentials here, and then automatically registers it. If you remove this, that means you are unregistered. So you'll be able to get this information from the cloud ALM service on a BTP, and in the same way like the service key, then you can specify it here. Next one is going to the configuration. So here we pre-deliver some of the business suite specific configuration. We have 4 of them. We also have one for geocode. You should be able to pick any of these, or you can customize it. So let's take a look at just one of them. So here we have the input fields and output fields mapping. This is where you go from the fields on a S4 side and then mapping to the service on a BTP, and then coming back from an output from service to the application fields. And you can map it here. You can do this per country. You can do this for all countries, or you can create a group of countries. So for this configuration, we already configured for India and then Russia specific ones. And you can also see the settings here. This is where you can set the preferred settings, such as casing for the address, or you can do a straight format, postal code format, things like that, to the preferred format. So the last one is the user information. This will bring up the transaction history. Might take a little bit time to load it. And here you see the number of transactions here, country, operations, and processing date. Operation, if you do the address cleansing, you'll show as address cleanse. If you get the latitude, longitude information, that'll show up as a address geocode operation. And then if you do the reverse geocoding, then it will show as a reverse geocoding. So you can filter based on what you like to see by the operation. You can also filter by country or countries. And then you can specify the beginning and end time, date for the filtering. Here I'm entering, selecting a US, and then here we have the US filtered. So this is just a tool for this. And now we are going to the S4 HANA side. So data quality management for SAP solutions, SAP systems. So I'm going to start setting up the OR client first to enable the authentication. It's loading. So here I'll be creating the OAuth2 client profiles, and I created this here, so it shows up here. If you haven't done it, then you can find this option in the menu and create a client profile. I'll give it a name and select the default. So it's created now. And the next step is going to the transaction for us to config. So I enter transaction here, which will open the browser-based UI for me. So here's the UI. And then here I can create the OS client. And then I'll select the profile I just created here. And I'll give a name for my configuration. And for the client ID, you're able to get this ID from the service key, the parameter JSON here. You specify it, the service key, I mean. You give the token endpoint, which also you can get from the service key credential information. I'm going to be using the client certificate and credential, and also select the SSL client PSE. And I'll be saving this. So now I have the configuration set correctly ready. So now I'll be creating the connection to the the data services, data quality services. Here I'm creating the RFC destination. I'll give it a destination name here. And it is the connection to the external server by HTTP. And here you can specify the host to the data quality services, which again you can see from the service key from the BTP cockpit, and it'll be using the endpoint address cleanse for address validation. And for the OS settings, I'll be selecting the configuration I just created, OS client. This is the one I just created. So I select it and save. And I select the active for SSL and save. So now we have that configured. Let's try and actually making a call to the data quality services. So to do that, go to the transaction business partner, BP, maintain business partner. Let's just try to create a person. And we have the name. If you like to enable the standardization of the name, you can also do that. But you'll also have to you have to use the HANA Smart Data Quality or data services for this. for the address validation, we'll be entering some sample address. Let me use the US example. $3999 West Chester Pike, Newtown Square. So I'll keep the postcode empty. And here is where you can click and check. And this icon, once you click it, it fires the request to the data quality services on a BTP and then do the address validation. So now it came back. So now we have the corrected address and then original address side by side. And you can see the house number was parsed into the separate field, and the street was also standardized, and West become W based on the preference I set in the configuration, and also capitalized, and casing is done also. And the postcode is also populated. It was up to down to the 9-digit postcode. So can accept this. And you can see the populated fields here. So I'll try to use the different address. So let me wipe these out. So I'll try this address, 875 North Michigan Avenue. And this is a Chicago address. It's Illinois. And again, I'll click the address check icon, which will send a request. And now this time it shows me the secondary suggestion list. And this is because this address was actually a building, and then inside of the building there are many offices reside, and then it's has a lot of suite numbers, and then some suite numbers are exact, some are range, and here you are able to select which suite number you like to select and see the range. If it's a range, you can see the secondary side indicator. And then here, O means odd, E means even, and B means both. So both means here it's 101 to 104, which means all the numbers between these two numbers are valid. If it's odd, it's just odd number only. And it's even number only, and it's validated based on that indicator. So let me select the address here. Select. Now it asks me to enter the suite number between 101 and 104, and then because this is both, I can enter any number between those two numbers. I enter 101, and then shows me now the final answer. So again, the house number is parsed correctly to the separate house number field, and then suite number is also populated, and then address also is standardized correctly, and the postcode is populated to the 9-digit one. Just saved this one. So for the last example, I just use the organization. Let's create an organization, enter a name. And let me use the German address this time. enter the address. I'll just keep the region empty. And Stuttgart is a city. So try again, address check. And again, if corrected and standardized in the format that I like. So the house number is separated. And now STR became Strasse based on my preference. And then city is capitalized and the region was empty, but now it's populated and the postcode is also populated. And the fields are populated here also. So this is the end of the examples that I have. So let me close this one and go back here. So just to summarize, we have a lot of documentations, references available, and where the data quality services integrated. And we have some integration with the SAP Master Data Governance for business partners on S/4HANA. We have the S/4HANA Cloud integration, and then also MDG Cloud Edition. Also have the integration with the success factors and sales and service cloud. And also as for the data integration tools, as I mentioned before, we have the SAP HANA Cloud, Smart Data Quality, and Data Intelligence Cloud. We have the operators, transforms that connects to the data quality services. And then we also have some sample scenarios that you can take a look. More references here. We have product documentation and of course Discovery Center. You can see this mission or service information, pricing, all the use cases. If you have any enhancements request, please use the customer influence portal. This is the one for S4 HANA Cloud for master data maintenance. And we have some community blogs you can refer to. There are many more than these two. And we also have the guided answers. This is the tooling for supporting configuration. You can go step by step, a screenshot by steps to navigate through your configuration steps. And then we also have the API references here, as I showed in the screenshot before, SAP Business Accelerator Hub, and then Postman example we provide. And then finally, I like to call for customer success stories. And if you already integrated data quality services or you're going to, and you have the integration in your business applications, and it could be either S/4HANA or any other applications like SuccessFactors, Sales and Service Cloud. And we do like to hear from you and hear how the solution was able to improve your organization's business processes and overcome your challenges. So I would appreciate if you can share your business use cases and your success stories using the data quality services. So if you like to be featured on sap.com and any other SAP references with your success stories, please do contact me, and we really appreciate if you do that. And if you have questions, you can always post your questions to SAP community, and that leads to Q&A. Gaurav.
Great. Thanks, Uzumi, for that wonderful session and also showcasing us the demo. Yeah, the Q&A is open. Participants, if you have any pressing questions, feel free to post them in the chat. Also, you can unmute yourself to ask the questions directly. Great. Meanwhile, while you think of some questions, let me share screen and also brief, or let's say show the way how you can land up to Discovery Center for the colleagues or friends who are joining us for the first time. So you could go to browser of your choice and just search for Discovery Center. Yeah. The first link should give you the direct landing page to what Discovery Center is all about. We already saw what missions comprises of, and by name of the services you can make out what these services are. So let me quickly brief you what the mission catalog is and what all things are included in that. So here we have all the missions which are recommended by SAP, the most popular missions which are started by other companies. So for every mission you could see that what all companies, the number of companies have already started those missions and working with them in or out. Some free tier missions also you can see, and also the part where I wanted to bring your attention is the partner mission. So if you are a partner listening to the Garage and also want to showcase your missions to the community, feel free to reach out to us. We can help you to publish your mission, and then also you can showcase in the upcoming Garage sessions as well. For every mission, as we just now saw in this mission that Huzumi just now showcased, there are many other details that can be very much helpful for your customers, for you if you are a customer listening in. So I won't be going deep dive into it. Feel free to start any missions. All the missions are free of cost, so there's no cost involved while you start a mission, and then you can navigate your path while adopting BTP. That was on the missions part. We also have services. So for every mission we pick, or let's say every mission leverages BTP services. So here you could see all the services that are available on top of BTP and all the information that are relevant for the specific service, like the roadmap, like the pricing, which all customers are leveraging it, things and like that. So that's the place where you could explore all the services of BTP. So that's primarily of what Discovery Center is all about. With that, that was from the Garage offering that we have done today, but there are several other forums that we run, on a monthly basis, and that's the monthly cadence that you would see. We run Garage on first of Wednesday. On third Wednesday, we have Screen Personas. On the third of Tuesday, we have SAP Fury Practitioners Forum, and so on and so forth. So feel free to, join these practitioners forum and then leverage the knowledge from the experts that we have and we bring in for you. There are also some upcoming on-site and virtual events that we are promoting out there. So yeah, you can take a look at them. And if you are available at those events, or let's say at those sites, feel free to attend them as well. The next garage that we would be hosting is not on 1st of Wednesday, because that's the holiday in most of the regions, public holidays. So that's where we have shifted it to the second Wednesday, which is 8th of November. And that's the use case that we would be showcasing over there. So yeah, that was pretty much it from the garage side. I do see there is a question. Let me quickly check. Okay, so Zumi, we do have a question. The question is this DQM service only for BP address validation or any other fields that can be covered in the scope of validation? Also, does it support validation of multiple addresses if customer has such specific needs?
Yeah. So for the data quality services you saw in a BTP, we support address fields. We don't support person names, company names, things like that yet. But you can also use the HANA Smart Data Quality and data services to do that. We also support matching to do additional data quality validation and duplicate checks, things like that. And for the multiple addresses, so we support multiple addresses. Typically in a BP screen, you will see the address, street address, and then you can see, you can also enter the PO box address. And if you put both of those, then it'll validate at the same time. So two connections, two validations, you'll do that.
Okay.
So other fields, I think, hopefully I'll answer the question. So that, yeah, data quality management add-on is there. It's a body implementation that can be applied to any other applications outside of BP.
Great. Thanks for that. I don't see any further questions coming in, but let's wait for another minute, Zumi, so that, okay, see there is
Okay.
one more question. How does data quality management on BTP compare with Info Steward? I'm not sure what Info Steward is.
So yeah, so infrastructure is the more governance solution within the data quality management solutions that we have. So our address validation is more for the integration side, data integration, movement, migration use cases. For the information stored is more like a government side business for business users. So the DQM data quality services, not BTP, we only do the address validation. So we won't be going beyond that at this time.
Thanks for that. Yeah, if let's give another minute for the participants to ask their questions. If not, thanks everyone for joining in and making the garage sessions so successful. And also thanks Azumi for taking out time and bringing us this nice use case and enable the partners and customers on top of it.
Thank
Uh,
you.
yeah, we will keep the room open for another minute if you have last minute questions. If not, thanks again and have a good time ahead.
Thank you everybody for joining.